Alrighty, welcome everyone to another movie review, and today is a kind of special episode. We are going to be reviewing Barbenheimer. It's kind of double feature that's coming out on July 21st. Just for context, as I'm kind of like recording this, it is 3:27 a.m. July 21st. So yeah, but a little bit about Barbenheimer, I guess. So these two movies, the build-up has kind of been crazy. I first kind of remember hearing about them both separately, but when it was kind of announced that they were like releasing on the same day and neither project was going to budge or change dates, that's kind of where this all started pretty much, because these are two drastically different movies. You have Barbie, which is a bright pink, colorful, kind of silly movie almost, and then you have Oppenheimer, which is like a super kind of serious, almost war movie about the making of the first atomic weapon, and it is super interesting. As of this current like recording, I haven't actually seen Barbie yet, so this kind of first part of the video is going to be Oppenheimer, and then the second part is obviously going to be Barbie once I've seen it. I'm actually seeing it at like 3:30, so I'm very excited, but let's get into Oppenheimer first. Now, I saw this movie the way it was meant to be seen. I saw it in an IMAX. We actually have an IMAX theater downtown in our state museum, so that was super cool. I've never actually been in IMAX before. It was really awesome. And yeah, Oppenheimer is really good. It's a Chris Nolan film. It stars like Cillian Murphy, Florence Pugh, Robert Downey Jr.'s in it as well. Just a whole bunch of other people star in this movie. It's kind of a stacked cast, if you will. And so is Barbie, actually, if you think about it. It's got like Michael Cera, freaking. I like how I say Michael Cera first, but it also has obviously Margot Robbie, Ryan Gosling as well. And there's a bunch of other people I just can't remember the names of. I don't actually have the page, but that'll be for the Barbie part of the review. But yeah, Oppenheimer is like just super good. And let me pull up like the like page while I'm talking about it. But sorry, I just read that one of my friends said can't wait for Oppenheimer 2 as like his review of it, which is funny. But yeah, this is a Chris Nolan film. Cillian Murphy, Matt Damon. I can't believe I forgot Matt Damon. Emily Blunt. The guy from The Boys is also in this movie. And like I said, I saw this in IMAX and it was crazy. Like at certain shots, just literally just took up the whole screen. It was awesome. They started off like the introduction of the movie like, oh yeah, this film reel is 11 miles long. It's 600 pounds. And one of our guys, put it together just for this. And it's awesome. So, yeah, like I said, I'm very. I was like, I was so antsy. I saw it with my friend, and yeah, it was awesome, to say the least. I will say at the beginning of the movie, it is a bit jumpy. The movie does jump around a little bit, so it's a little confusing at first. I'm not exactly sure how long, like hour-wise, it's kind of this way. But it's like that up until they meet Matt Damon's character, who is, I believe, a general. And yeah, when they meet him, the movie kind of centers itself and is more grounded and doesn't jump around. And that's kind of really where, the race kind of happens and where a big part of the movie takes place. And I'm assuming the beginning is kind of jumping around because it's like they're trying to set up and establish a lot of things so that way, because it comes back later in the movie towards the end, because it's like a congressional hearing about Robert Downey Jr.'s character, who is like the head of this weapons thing, I think. And yeah, he's the head of it, and he's kind of getting pressed by Congress about Oppenheimer and like, oh, is he a threat to national security and stuff like that, because he, would partake in like communist gatherings, I guess, which isn't a bad thing, right? But America back then was kind of crazy, so but yeah, first of all, Cillian Murphy killed it as Oppenheimer. Like, I don't really know much about the actual, like, guy, right? Robert Oppenheimer. But I do know the infamous clip where it's like, I am become death, destroyer of worlds. Like, I know that clip, which they say twice in the movie. There are also a couple funny bits, couple funny jokes that are told throughout the movie, give the audience a good chuckle. Speaking of chuckle, real quick, before the movie started, like in IMAX, they flashed like a card on the screen that said this movie has no mid-credit or post-credit scenes, and it's like, that is so funny that we have to like have that because of Marvel now. Just thought that was like a funny side note. Yeah, Cillian Murphy killed it. Matt Damon was also really good in his role. Me personally, I love Matt Damon. He's killed it in everything I've seen of him. But yeah, this movie was crazy, and some of the revelations for it was just insane. They had a Einstein cameo, which, in my opinion, and I know some people like be like, "Oh, shut the fuck up," but like in my opinion, like it didn't stick out like at all, really. He was there, right? But it wasn't like, it was like, oh, he's not supposed to be here, you know what I mean? And same with other physicists too. It's funny, I was watching it and they like showed like Niels Bohr, he made like the Bohr's model for like atoms and stuff, and I was like, oh yeah, those people are like in the same time frame, which is like weird to me for some reason. I don't know why. But yeah, it was just super interesting kind of about how they made it. And honestly, the atomic explosion was really cool too. They shot it really cool. And I know this is like, oh, real life, but I really did like how the fact like 20-30 seconds after the explosion first went off, it was like silence, and was like, oh, that was cool. And then the shock wave hit them and all the sound rushed to them, and it was really cool. But I also really loved Cillian Murphy's performance during that scene, because it was like, once that went off, you could like see his face. He was like, oh my god, what did we just create? And I also do really kind of like and you saw this in the trailer, but like the sense of like, we could potentially destroy the world by setting the atmosphere on fire with this, because it was like uncharted territory. No one knew what was going to happen. But yeah, the performances in this were super good. They didn't really show any like crazy like physics or anything like that. It wasn't like anything. It was like, if they spoke it on screen, you could understand it. You know what I mean? It wasn't like they were like, oh, this, they explained it. It wasn't confusing at all, except that kind of beginning back and forth jump cuts that they did. But overall, like I said, this movie, Oppenheimer, is really good. Me personally, like I said, I give it a 4.5 out of 5, subject to change. I'll probably watch it again tomorrow when I go see Barbie, maybe. And if I do, like, I'll make a mention if I like change anything. But I really did enjoy it. The performances, like I said, were really good. Some of the twists towards the end were also like, whoa, and so for Oppenheimer, like I said, I'm feeling a 4.5 out of 5. That 0.5 that's missing is because of like the beginning jump cutty thing at the beginning. Yeah, but which is a pretty good, like, I was expecting this to be a 5 out of 5, and I really honestly wasn't disappointed by it. Same with Barbie. I can't wait to go see Barbie tomorrow, or I guess the next part of this video. My expectations for that are also a 5 out of 5, so we'll see how that changes. So yeah, now on to the Barbie review. Alright, and welcome to the Barbie section of this review. So this movie was crazy. It was a banger. I'm honestly really surprised that both Barbie and Oppenheimer were so good. just get this score out the way, 5 out of 5. And I've also kind of retroactively changed the 4.5 for Oppenheimer to a 5 because it's just really good. They're both, really good, really good. But anyways, let's get into the movie. So as everyone and their mom knows, Barbie is I think it's a Greta Gerwig film. I think that's her name. Let me check. But yeah, this is a Greta Gerwig film, starring Margot Robbie and Ryan Gosling, obviously Barbie and Ken. And this movie took so many turns and was not anything. I mean, I kind of expected some of the things that were happening, but it did not go the way I thought it was gonna go. So, as from the trailer, Barbie is kind of down into kind of in a depressing mood, and as she finds out, this is due to like the person in real life that has been playing with her particular Barbie doll is kind of upset. So that's why she kind of starts not being perfect anymore. And this movie has so many great like takes on like just women, feminism, the real world, and just your self-image, and it's really good. And I did not really expect a Barbie movie to relay these messages and themes to me, and I thought it was magnificent. Really, girls everywhere could really like, this is like a message that I think they would really take to heart and enjoy. And I also think the message can just be applied to anyone, really. I was like, throughout the movie, I was like, dude, I get this. Even though I'm like a male, obviously. But yeah, so her and Ken kind of leave Barbie Land to kind of go find the person who's having trouble and kind of help them out. And at first it's like, oh, you find out that it's like and spoilers, by the way, I know we're like 12 minutes in, but like spoilers, I guess, kind of. But like you find out that like it's like, oh, this girl who is kind of like growing up, but also like she turns into like a preteen or like a tween, I guess is what they said. And it's just like she's kind of like, in that edgy phase where it's like, oh, I hate my parents, yada yada, I hate the world, and that's kind of what we assume is why Barbie is kind of slowly not being perfect anymore. And so in my mind, when I saw this, I was like, oh, this is going to be a story about Barbie helping this young woman rekindle her relationship with her mom, and that's kind of what's going to happen. But and it did kind of happen like that, but it flipped it, and instead it was the mom who was wishing like, oh, I wish we could go back to the good old days where it was just me and you playing with Barbies and everything was happy and this, that, and the other. And then it really just becomes kind of like a message of like, oh no, Barbie can be and do anything, women can do anything and be anything they want. And it was really, really powerful. The ending was super good, where I don't know if this was the actual like creator of Barbie or not, but like if it was actually her, someone they got cast as her. But she shows up earlier in the film and helps kind of Barbie escape Mattel, which is really cool. But she shows up at the end and just gives this like kind of speech or a little talk to Barbie once everything is kind of situated in Barbie world, which I'll get to that in a second. And it's just really, it's so good and powerful. Honestly, if I was watching this, by myself, I probably would like tear up or cry or something like that. I almost did. And yeah, it was super good. Kind of the main plot other than that is like, because both Barbie and Ken are in the real world, Ken is exploring just as much as Barbie is, and he finds like these books, like dude books, right? Like, oh, books about horses and trucks and guns and the patriarchy, which, by the way, this is like a middle school or a high school, I think, and in my opinion, it's like super weird that they have a book on the patriarchy. Like, maybe I just don't look at my library stuff enough, but like it's kind of weird that Ken found that. And then his whole kind of like thing, which is like a subplot, which then becomes the main plot of the movie, is like, oh, the patriarchy, oh, being a man is great, being in control and power is great, and all this stuff. And he takes that back to Barbie Land and kind of brainwashes not only the Barbies but the other Kens that like, oh yeah, this is how society in Barbieville should, or Barbie Land should be run. It should be run where dudes are in control. Everything's like, trucks, guns, and Ken has, I don't even remember what they called it, but it was like this dojo mojo casa house. It was so stupid. And then kind of the end is like Barbie and the mother and daughter kind of fixing Barbie Land and just stuff. There's so much I kind of like glossed over. I'm trying not to like reveal too much because these two movies are really movies that you have to go and see. They're obviously like the biggest releases of this year, but so far these are like the two biggest blockbusters that have both turned out to be 5 out of 5s for me. So yeah, I urge you to go see this movie. And yeah, let's get in performances real quick. The performance by Margot Robbie and Ryan Gosling was absolutely perfect. I think the casting for both Barbie and Oppenheimer were perfectly chosen. And yeah, everyone's comedic timing in this, because there are jokes in this movie, was really funny. They even have like this narrator character that has some funny one-liners. There was this one that stuck out where it was like Barbie was crying about like how imperfect she was, and this is before they devised the plan to save Barbie Land, but she was crying about how imperfect she was and how ugly she feels, and the narrator was like, if like filmmakers note that this would work with anyone else, but we casted Margot Robbie or something like that. It was a funny quip. Just because Margot Robbie's obviously gorgeous, so it's like her like saying, "Oh, I'm ugly," and this that is like it's like, no, you're not. You are objectively gorgeous. But the point still stands, because like even objectively like gorgeous, women and men alike, like everyone feels that way at some point, where it's like, oh, I feel ugly and disgusting and imperfect and this, that, and whatever. And it's like, yeah, that's okay, like everyone feels that way. And yeah, like I said, the messages and themes in this movie were really, really good. While I think Oppenheimer, like filmmaking wise, is leagues above this movie, just because like it's Chris Nolan. They did so many, like, they fucking recreated the atomic explosion. This movie its themes are so good, like really good. And honestly, that's probably the best part of the movie, is the themes that they show throughout. It's just super powerful and impactful, and I can definitely see how like this will be kind of like a movie that helps a lot of people with their own self-image and stuff like that. And hell, like even Ken, even though Ken like has this kind of like turnaround where it's like, oh hey, this, that, whatever, they make it a point where it's like, oh, Ken, like even though it's like Barbie and Ken, you can just be Ken. You don't have to be like an attachment to Barbie. You can be your own person, your own, have your own ideals, and if it just so happens that you end up with Barbie, but like you got to find who you are and stuff like that. And it was really good. And again, Ryan Gosling played this role so well, along with Margot Robbie, so well. Yeah. Also, funny side note, John Cena was in this movie. It was really weird. I didn't expect to see him, but yeah. Also, real quick, Michael Cera as Alan was really funny. Had some really good funny lines. But yeah, overall, I think this movie is fantastic. Like I said, I probably jumped around a bunch. It's a little overwhelming. I low-key might go see this again, maybe like Monday or something. But yeah, like for Barbenheimer, I don't think we've ever had like this situation, or I guess we kind of have, because like I think Mamma Mia and like a Batman movie released on the same day, but it's like this double drop was probably like the best day for movies in recent memory. both fantastic films. And soundtrack, real quick, for Barbie was pretty all right. It really did elevate the scenes, just like chase scenes, but it wasn't like anything crazy. Same with Oppenheimer too. I did notice in Oppenheimer though that there was a lot of music throughout, but other than that, yeah. So would I recommend Barbenheimer? Yes, I would. Easily, probably. Like I can see both of these movies winning Oscars easily. Like there's no doubt in my mind that they both win one. Yeah, so go check out Barbenheimer. And yeah, my official score for both movies is a 5 out of 5. So I guess that's gonna be all. Let me know if you guys loved it, hated it, what'd you think. Let me know in the comments. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and I will see you all in the next review. Peace.